Those who turn on the lights for you deserve your respect. I learned how to rap from Mase, and Cam always made sure I appeared on all of his albums. Those who turn on the lights for you deserve your gratitude. I learned to rhyme from Mase, and Cam made sure I appeared on all of his albums. Jim Jones wouldn't exist if it weren't for these gentlemen. I'm happy to learn that you offered me flowers 1 hour later. Since I am a hater myself, I will not gift flowers to those I loathe. Do you not believe that Pusha T ought to be listed in the top 50 rappers of all time? Oh no. How did he do it? What makes him one of the greatest rappers of all time? Other than that, he certainly didn't. They share a kiss. Jim Jones tumbled out again for just this reason. Shadow was not all that Pusha did. As though peering into Jim's soul, he gazed into the camera. No filter, no jokes, simply unadulterated heat. Because it was personal, you could feel the strain via the screen, adding gasoline to the inferno. Since the bank arrived and stole his that line, he said, Jim has been avoiding the spirit of repossession, which is cold-blooded. He was aiming straight for the heart. His depth astonished people on the internet. Oh, man. What do they want, then? He knew that he was not playing fairly. Mase came over with a bucket of popcorn, acting as though he was watching a comedy act, just as it got too offensive. Just nibbles and a vibe, no words, no warnings. That is the quintessential trolling move. There was nothing more I needed to say. Fanega begged us, this is entertainment. His whole presence declared it. You're a fan. An admirer. But wait a moment. Get out. My fitness center was being ridiculed from all sides, and the internet was giddy with delight. The wildest portion, though, comes next. Jim has been publicly ridiculed from every side, yet he still won't concede and back down. As if he's doubling down. He jumped exactly as planned, rather than calming down. I returned to the booth and performed a freestyle in response to Usha's disc. Yes, even when no one is ducking, he is still swinging. As if they would shake him, he is now aiming shots at Pusha and Mase on Instagram while throwing silky shade. In actuality, though, those posts were just made up. It gets worse. It's for you. What is Drake's place in the history of hip-hop? He is, in my opinion, the greatest of all time. He is fighting wars from all sides. His jersey is already being selected for the Rap Hall of Shame. But since you are already aware of Mase and Cam warranty, I will overlook it. Let's begin. Pusha's small tabletop act totally destroyed Jim Jones. Not only was it excellent, but it was a purposeful musical attack. As part of the launch for their comeback album, Pusha and Mase performed a fantastic concert, arriving like two generals reclaiming their territory. Let's God will take care of them. They had sealed the whole room. As well as when they collaborated with Kendrick Lamar on Chains and Whips. Whoosh. There was no disc in that performance. The execution was poetic. Now consider the 5 Pusha records. His documents. Indeed. I love Pusha. Nostalgia. Fans of Pusha T. I had no idea he had such admirers. Which 5 Pusha records can you name? His documents. See, however, no. Are you able to refuse? Are you able to rap to 5? Press. Can I? I'm not good at rapping 5. Okay. Are you able to rap 5 times? Hold on a minute. Are you able to rap? Not the records on which he has appeared, if 5 Pusha's AT records. Are you able to rap? Pusha and Mase not only made fun of Jim, but they also destroyed him in front of the culture if 5 Pusha AT records had been released at this time. At each bar, they took turns. Jim's whole rap identity was easily dismantled. 5 pushed recordings. Could be rapped by you. Yes. Are you able to wait? Right now, could you rap 5 Pusha T record? Have you started to play? By rap like the hook, what do you mean specifically? Could you sing them, for example? No one believes Jim will escape. That one unharmed. You can tell what time it is if you watch both films, including the little desk performance and the astute lyric breakdown. Pusha didn't even blink or twitch or flinch once. Inside, that man was locked. He looked straight through Jim Jones as. He fixed his gaze on the camera. It was more than just delivery. There was a beat to the intimidation. He had a chilly-duck grin on his face and that blank expression, as though he wanted Jim to feel every word in his chest. My top 50 does not include you. One of Charlemagne's top 50 might be you. However, you haven't done anything to help me in my existence. I wanted to avoid seeming overbearing. Never in my life have I experienced a pushing moment. I never imagined you would delve as deeply as I do. If you were really that guy, that rapper, and all that, I would want to be like you. You think highly of Pusher. He was impacted by Pusher. Yes. Oh no. All right, great. Pushy did Mr. Me Too. Record for that reason. All right, great. You're a very powerful Pusher T. You weren't even close to the top 50. You exceeded 950. And how precisely Pusher moved along those bars. He did more than just rap. He was tearing up Jim's whole reputation. Tidy and well organized. No fanfare or chanting is heard. Simply surgical disdain on the beat. However, Jim done it to himself, to be honest. Acting as though he had something to prove, he abruptly decided to approach Pusha and flung open the door. Do you not believe that Pusha T ought to be listed in the top 50 rappers of all time? Whoa. What did he? What makes him one of the greatest rappers of all time? It's time to talk about something else. He most likely didn't. How did he do it? No one has ever dressed like him. No one desires to resemble Pusha T. No, I am unable to recall anything. Not to be mean, but we're going to discuss rap. The beat is popping. In this game, I don't know many people who are inclined to be like Pusha T, and for what reason? Devotion to Drake. Let's be honest. Jim started acting like a Drake evangelist full-time. Disparaging Pusha for no apparent reason. Pusha saw it all. Pusha's remarks regarding whips and shackles. Everyone is in the room. Here's the elephant, though. The feature you're after isn't your forte. That was straightforward. Jim was reprimanded by him for pleading with Drake for a feature as if it were a golden ticket. Jim even went so far as to say that Drake is the best rapper of all time because of this. What album they play in a club or while serving tea is unknown to me. They don't go outside to play. Young NBA boy. That's insane, NBA young boy before pushing T. How do you feel about the NBA young boy's effort, Jim? No, Jim is merely attempting to incite rage in everyone. Right now, push it to your rail. Jim was trying to annoy everyone, as you heard. Jim is that person. Look at him, Jim. Take a look at him. He was trying to ride it deep for that partnership, but he was pulled into an unprepared verbal assault in place of a verse. Jim swiftly switched the switch. After a moment of relaxing, he starts acting like Drake's own attack dog. Approaching Pusher from all angles. When Billboard published its list of the top 50 greatest rappers of all time, it all started. Jim lost it when Pusha T was at number 29. Pusha did not deserve to be on the list, much less in the top 50, he said categorically on The Breakfast Club. Really, that is a bold claim to make. Particularly in the face of someone as intelligent as Push. Jim continued after that. He doubled down as though he had something on the Rap Caviar podcast. Considering Push's long career in the game, from clip days to solo greatness, he claimed that he hasn't made any significant contributions to the culture. That's crazy. But Whips and Chains seemed to Batty Disc sliced far more deeply than Jim had anticipated. He's already giving a freestyle response the following moment. This is the strange part. It wasn't a new freestyle. No, Jim. 2 years before To Chains and Whip's release, that incident was captured on tape. Everyone is now perplexed. In what way did Jim obtain that beat in advance? Was this all part of his plan? Was there a leak? Or was he already at odds with Pusha prior to its public debut? It's a mess, anyway. People are increasingly beginning to suspect that Hemium is monitoring Cam Mase's own. Furthermore, it appears that everyone else was secretly planning this whole feud long before the rest of the world knew about it. He has a constant, "Wow. Did you hear? I was there the entire time, but I was Cam's man, like I said. Have you heard that? I wasn't present at every event. I didn't like anyone Cam didn't like, and I could tell right away how he handled Cam. It's clear that I didn't like him. After that, I witnessed Cam's love for him and how he was jumping out of the window for him, which is something a buddy ought to experience. Such as being overly cautious and ensuring that nothing occurred. He appeared to be making every effort to protect Mase. However, Mase had lost his head and received the money. That's how it all started. Chains and Whips was not formally released for 2 years. The song leaked in part. They walked out to the music and the moment that beat it during the Louis Vuitton runway show. Jim capitalized on the internet's flurry of interest, snatching the leaked beat and dropping it despite being pulled through the subsequent incredible Tiny Desk performance. Rather than being silent, Jim went straight to Instagram and continued to disparage Pusha. He attempted to play it off as is by tweeting a tape of his same old freestyle from 2 years ago. As it was off. With a tiny fancy caption, he uploaded a new response. I believed Wu had already dealt with this. That desk was too little, so he will need a bigger one. It's a surgical procedure. I don't tell stories. I still consider your brother a friend, and I'm a lifer. Funny. M needs to start eating less. He needed to see a doctor in order to get his physical body restored. Look enormous around your neck. His waist looks ridiculous, and I'm body shaming him. He must gather his belongings and mount the treadmill. Perform a few push-ups. Have you heard? For playing with me, in particular. But the internet didn't believe it. He was not receiving any assistance from his own followers. Pity. One commenter said, Yugo Tai was triggered and smoked way too much, in response to the fact that they were frying him. You uploaded a DVD from the previous year again. Bro. Still thinks he can go bar to bar with Pusha, said another. That desk wasn't the issue. Jim thought he was in the comments. One admirer made fun of Jim by stating, he said, no names yet, instead of rotating the block, reminding everyone of how cruelly he was treated the first time. You're out here saying that your necklaces have enamel. Writing became much more difficult, and jealousy turned into an obsession. Give up, dude. You're getting close. The absurd thing is that it's not just random internet users who are experiencing Evan Mase. Cam added his voice as well. You've had a long and turbulent relationship with Jim, assuming you know him there. You can be sure they're enjoying every second of this chaos. He was like your man on the side. He wasn't even a rapper. When balling occurred, I was looking and thinking, oh, he's having a moment. It's a Lloyd Banks thing. He wanted that and was watching them as though they might be that or that. He then had 1 a.m. and I just looked and realized that I had just committed murder to see it. As I wasn't certain he would pursue it. It's difficult to understand why Mase was giggling because this drama isn't brand new. It has persisted for many years. Jim, Mase, and Cam were all born and raised in Harlem. That is Jim's accusation. According to Cam's account of events, it doesn't adds up quite a bit. The 3 of them were therefore members of the same early rap group called Children of the Corn back in the mid-1990s. Until things started to shift. it was all about cooperation and diligence. The first to catch on was Mase. He blasted Jim's assertions that this was the case and inked a lucrative contract with Bad Boy Records. Was the moment when everything started to make sense to him. Mase swiftly altered his habits and started acting as he became well known. Jim claims that Mase started to turn away from those who had stood by him, especially Cam. "We like Jimmy better than you," I remarked. "Nevertheless, Cam, you've had to watch his reaction. We tell him we want him when we see him, saying things like, 'Oh, he really likes it. Give me this. Get me, Jimmy. Jimmy, we want you at the show.' However, that was among the items I simply discarded. During is he even putting more effort into that take?" He claimed that Mase had moved past his early years in an interview with Justin LeBoy. The tension is obviously still high, regardless of whether this is factual or just a rehashing of previous disputes. Additionally, Mase and Cam are observing from the hot seat now that Jim is back in it. On the sidelines, laughing like it was déjà vu, Jim didn't hold back when he said that after Cam blew, he witnessed Mase talking slickly about him back in January. Jim says he lost all respect for him because of more than just the behind-the-scenes activities. It was, very simply, a betrayal. Look, when under Diddy's promotion, Masawa was gaining public attention, and they were just thinking about Capo. Throughout their lifetimes, I achieved a great deal for them. Both of them were heard by you. Hold on. Leave my dick alone. This is just room for a baby girl. Man, hurry up. I still had my Cam in the trenches. Churning Cam put in a lot of effort. The machine was not yet with him. However, he didn't abandon Jim when he did. He invited him in, and the two of them started working on what would eventually become. However, we took a completely other route. Loyalty is exemplified by the Dipset empire. He left the game entirely and stepped away from rap to become a pastor following his stint with Bad Boy and all the turmoil that went on behind the scenes with Diddy. Cool. However, he returned, went out, and then showed up at the gym. There was no sense of progression. Mase seemed to be pursuing whatever spotlight was available at the moment. He's preaching 1 minute, then throwing diss tunes the next. Jim was annoyed by the aesthetics inconsistencies and thought it was fake, as though Mase was showing up when she didn't have to. Which I had built. All right, diplomats, you heard the pink of Dan the Cam. Did you hear? No. All right, sooner or later, he'll have to tell you where he obtained the pink. Dim is not only responding to this as Mase gets in on now, already realizing that history plays a part in this, clowning from the sidelines. Reliving decades of unsolved hostility with Mase, but also Pusha. Undoubtedly, Mase and Cam had significant obstacles at the time, but they overcame them in 2022 after getting back together and launching their popular sports podcast. It is what it is. Although the audience loved it, it obviously brought up old issues. Jim Jones was furious and unhappy because he didn't feel the renewed kinship between Cam and Mase. He then resumed his fluid shot throwing. He recently attacked Mase, disparaging his looks and even advising him to follow a diet. Bro, you're from the Bronx. Not in Harlem. What makes you believe that you are from Harlem? You're not, bro. You and I did not grow up together. You don't realize that I didn't grow up with you. Are you a Bronx native? Was your grandmother a Harlem resident? You came to see her, yes. Yes, I did occasionally see you. Yes, you and I did not grow up together. And there were no bars involved. It was about pride, feelings, and a past that can never truly be mended. Naturally, Command Mase would not tolerate that in silence. Thus, they made the decision to invite Jim's lifetime 50 Cent, a rival, will appear on their show as a guest. During the conversation, Cam struck Jim with a slick, making matters worse. He questioned 52 and gave an explanation for Jim Jones' unexpected appearance at one of his 2007 performances. This occurred during the height of the conflict between Dip It and Gunnut. When the situation was really tense, back then, Jim's attendance at a gunnet event raised eyebrows, and Cam made sure everyone remembered it. My boyfriend, her muffruff, and I were quite well liked in the street prior to the internet, despite the fact that Mase and Big were on the same page. Everyone was aware that we were going to sign a record deal. There was no secret about it. It was an audacious move that demonstrated Mase and Cam were serious. Jim's whole legacy was on the line. A live audience and receipts. Cam was well aware of his actions. Like a lovely alley, he tossed it up. I'm ready for 50 to drive home the point. And 50 really delivered. Jim obviously fell for his bait, and he didn't hold back. Shortly after, Jim lost it when he sat down with Justin LeBoy. He started berating Cam and 54, even using his name to imply that they owed him a lot of favors. In essence, you heard our one day, while I was relaxing in front of the house, he approached me and freestyled, saying this to my deceased mother. I listened to the free. You're killing people. You are aware that my granny passed away. Yes, Joe, you are welcome to stop by and simply hang around if you want to. Regards. We were like, yo, man, what is Joe inviting us to his house for? So it didn't make much sense at the moment. Jim continued by saying that he felt like he was being manipulated, and you could tell by the tone of his voice that he was taking it personally. He asserted that he invented the entire Dipset style. Jim claims that it was his influence, not Cam's, that made the drip so well known in hip-hop culture. He also claimed full credit for influencing Cam's distinctive pink fur coat look.